Showing up for yourself looks different every single day. Go away. Showing up for yourself looks different every day. Some days are going to be easier than others. Some days are going to be harder than others. Some days you're not going to want to try. You're not going to feel like doing anything. But I promise you, if you do something, you will feel a little bit better. For example, I've been doing good. I've had a good week. I have stopped pressuring myself to do, because we just gotta be. We don't have to just do. So if you let yourself just be and trust yourself, build up that inner trust that you are going to do it, then you will do it when it feels right, then you can let yourself rest. But yeah, today I felt really tired. I didn't want to show up for myself today. I spent an extra hour in bed, and honestly, I was tempted to just stay there. But you know what? Today is a beautiful day. And I would have missed out on this. 1, 2, 1. If I had stayed in bed, if I had stayed at home, if I hadn't have said to myself, right, I'm going to get up. I'm going to make the decision to do a mindfulness practice. I'm going to make the decision to actually get in the shower. Because if you can relate to this, you can relate to this. If you can't, then this, don't you worry. But sometimes showering can be the hardest thing. Just to get in there. Once you're in there, don't want to get out. It's like in yoga when they say, if you've stepped up to the mat, well done, because that's the hardest part, to start, to actually make the decision to get onto your mat, to make the decision to get in the bathroom and shower. And today, like me, deciding to step out of the house, because sometimes we don't feel like it. And sometimes we remember the times where we didn't feel like doing it, and we kind of pushed ourselves to do it anyway, because we knew eventually we would feel better. But you know what? I didn't feel bad when I left the house. I felt good. I actually felt good. So healing and growing and showing up is not linear. And I made a commitment to myself to do this, whatever this is. And I've realized I'm kind of gonna change how I do it, because I've realized I don't like saying the word gift, but I realize I have a gift. Gift of the gab, shall we say. That I feel like if I actually honed in and tried, then I could use my voice and make something of myself. But if I don't try, I'm not gonna know, am I? So if there's anything that you've been putting off because you don't feel like doing it, just try and do it. Just take that first step. If you still don't feel like it after, okay, that's fine. Just try. Just try. Ah. Let me tell you, we all go through phases in our lives where some things are easier, sometimes are harder. There are times where we don't want to get out of bed, we don't want to leave the house, we don't want to shower, we don't want to eat, we don't want to do. Okay. And there can also be times like that where we just want to avoid, and we want to not be still and not be present and just not even not think, but distract the thoughts, to not sit with the thoughts. So let me tell you one thing. 2 weeks ago, I was a whole different version than I am today. So let me tell you this to tell you it's possible, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And I did it slowly. I did it step by step. I, this time round, did not try and force myself to do everything at once. I did little bits, little steps that felt manageable. even if it felt like I wasn't doing enough. Let me stress that. Even if it felt like I wasn't doing enough, I let myself be okay with the fact that I did something. The fact that I had tried, that I had shown up and made an effort. And I know some people say, you know, bare minimum is not effort or consistency or whatever. But if you are building consistency and all you can do is the bare minimum to stay consistent, then do it. Then do it, because that's you building consistency, and that is absolutely perfect. That is fine, because that's where I'm at right now. I feel like that's a sign. um, yeah, if all you can do is the bare minimum, just so that you stay consistent, so that you build your consistency, then that's brilliant. Because in the last few weeks, I have managed to get myself to do things that felt unachievable, unattainable, impossible at the time. And I'm trying to think back like how I did this. I feel like I incorporated yoga. For me personally, that is a form of meditation for me, because it allows me to still the mind and have some sort of like focus instead of just being still. Because honestly, sometimes being still and meditating is challenging for me, and that's okay. And instead of forcing myself, I've done yoga instead, because I know that's a way that I can do that. So gradually, still in the mind, it's getting the body active, because I wasn't being very active. And I have noticed just feeling better. And now practicing some meditation as well, because I've done the yoga. You know, I can sit there and do a 10-minute guided meditation at some point during the day. You know, it's not always perfect. Sometimes first thing in the morning I can, other times it's a lot going on. And I think the fact that we're not trying to get rid of the thoughts, we're just trying to observe and let them be. You know, because sometimes you wanna grab, but you have to, yeah. Actually, I just reminded myself, I started off with breath work before I tried to do meditation again. Breath work and yoga, because I thought breath work was a load of it's like breathing. I breathe anyway, but no, it is a whole different kind of breath when you actually intentionally breathe. I have noticed that I've felt so much more relaxed, more calmer, more like in tune and connected to myself. Like before I do something, I remind myself now to take, pardon me, a couple of breaths. And I don't know, it just sort of it stabilizes me. And like as I'm thinking of it right now, I'm sure that you could probably just notice the change of me rambling on. It works for me. Give it a go. Yeah, I'm trying to think what else. Sort of not pushing myself, putting pressure, because you don't need to push yourself. You don't need to put pressure on yourself. You just have to build up that trust. And also, I know that my nervous system was very dysregulated. I was stressed and it was showing in my body. I was not taking care of myself. Do you know what? I think the breath work mainly is the one thing that helped me get the ball rolling and helped me deregulate my nervous system, as well as like somatic yoga and sort of like doing meditations focused on feeling, which I say with like a face, because that's what I needed to do. That was what was for me in my own journey, which has actually reminded me upon the thing of I was always I was always trying to see how other people were doing, you know, mindfulness practices, meditation, breath work, like yoga, anything. How are they doing it? But I've realized more and more I can start off doing it that way. Maybe it will be okay for me, maybe it won't. But the main point is we all have to find what works for us individually. Like we can take advice, we can see what they're doing and we can modify it, but we have to find our own way. And I feel like when you have a dysregulated nervous system and you're not quite in that trust of yourself, you don't trust yourself that it's going to be right, even though it doesn't have to be right. It just has to sort of feel right. But nothing really feels right when you're not regulated. So yeah, I started to trust myself a bit more and doing things my own way, setting my own intentions, freestyling my yoga, 10:44. Yeah. If you see this, I just want you to know that you're going to be okay. You're learning to trust yourself. You're on the right path, even if everything does not look how you thought it should. It's part of the journey, it's part of the process. And it's true when people say you can either do it the easy way or the hard way. I've done it the hard way. And I feel like it's pushed me to the point where I now get to choose to do things the easy way. And it doesn't get easier, you just get better, so it feels easier. But yeah, honestly, you've got this in the bag. You're going to be fine. Take it slow. Don't pressure yourself. Relax. Find stillness as well. That's something, because I was very go, 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 go. And I'm finding more stillness because I feel like now I've cleared my mind a little bit, just settled it. I can actually be still without feeling like the Knight of Swords with the horse being the mind and me just being carried away. But no, I feel more in control. Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out what I'm trying to do with these videos. I feel like I'm going to try and be a bit more positive, motivating, and encouraging. But then again, I don't know how to do that without talking about myself. But I guess that's okay, because the more I do this, the more I practice, the better it's going to get. And you know what? I've got to be a beginner at some point. Otherwise, I'm not going to be better. I've got to fail now so I don't have to fail later. Yeah. But I wish you a beautiful rest of your day, morning, evening, night, whatever it is. So, yeah, if I had any advice for you, just move the body and still the mind. Ah, but yeah.